And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you all for joining us. We are live at Ed's 50s Cafe here in Meridian, Idaho. And we've got Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. He's already enjoying breakfast. And Security Guard Mike with us. Good morning, Security Guard Mike.
Hey, Kevin Miller here from Ed's 50s Cafe here in, where are we at? Meridian,
We're in beautiful Meridian, Idaho.
Beautiful
the center of it all, Security Guard Mike.
Oh, yes, we are. Okay, Ed's 50s Cafe. Make sure you come on over. Kevin Miller's here live this morning.
Hold on. This is the first time that I have been around Security Guard Mike, and he is not blowing us away. Now, he still has good energy, better energy than 95% of the populace, but by Security Guard Mike standards, I'm thinking this is like a B- today, brother. Are you okay? A little early for you? I mean, you've worked double shifts, and you've come out, and you've had no problem getting the energy. You're a little down today? A little breakfast pick you up a little?
Oh, maybe a little breakfast. But just being here with Kevin Miller has brightened my whole day up already. I'm back on. I'll be back. Don't worry. But anyway, so far, I just want to remind everybody, November the 6th, for all you Republicans out there, it's time to vote. Democrats vote on November the 7th. So just a reminder. Sorry, Kevin. You better.
No. Now, Security Guard Mike, while we have you here, we don't want to keep you too long because we don't want we have our priorities. We don't want your delicious breakfast from Ed's to get cold. By the way, if you're traveling in from Canyon County, take the Meridian Road exit. Drive across the bridge. Come see us. We are right in front of the Winco in, again, the center of the Treasure Valley, Meridian, Idaho. So this election, you got Paulette Jordan. You got Brad Little. We've been running the debates and such. Your thoughts, Security Guard Mike?
Well, I pretty much am sure that Paulette Jordan, well, she's not my cup of tea. I'd rather go with Brad Little and stick with what we got. We're having a proven success here. He may not be Tommy Ahlquist, but I still love Brad Little. And so let's all get out there and show our support for him. And everything's going to be all great, and we're going to have a great time here in Idaho. We keep the train going, and we don't want to go the other way where we have to raise our taxes and do whatever else that lady wants.
Well, what do you think of the president? How's he doing?
Donald Trump is awesome. He's off the chain. He's rolling along, and everything is so good with Donald Trump. And there are some snags because the media just keeps on throwing junk on him. He got that Supreme Court guy Kavanaugh in, and everything is looking a lot good. And we just got to vote on November 6th and keep this train moving so that we can get America straightened back out and keep America staying great.
Now, finally, you always ask me, it's almost that time of year again. Two big events coming up. The Treasure Valley Turkey Challenge, Miller's Mission, will be at the Walmart once again, Garrity and Franklin. We always appreciate your help with that event where I dress up as a giant turkey and say it's always better to give a turkey, not be a turkey. And then we have our partnership with Channel 7, 7 Cares, Idaho Shares, 7 Cares. You, my brother, are the show stealer. I love it because you have all these people on TV. Now, I go there with one of my food-stained hoodies, and I just marvel at how much you pump everybody up, including the paid professionals. Mark Johnson's giving you bear hugs, and you're running wild. Where do you get that energy?
I have to blame that on just my mom. My mom had lots of energy. She's always doing everything. My dad had lots of energy, and that's just the way it goes. You just got to keep on working all the time, and that's what makes America great. Is you got to keep working, doing your thing, setting your goals, and just keep on moving forward. That's what we can do.
It's kind of like Terry eating his breakfast over at Ed's 50s Cafe there, right? He's chowing away. Thank you, Security Guard Mike.
All right. Hey, everybody, Ed's 50s Cafe, Kevin Miller Live. Get on down here, and don't be late because you're missing out on one of the great guys here. And I love you, Idaho, and keep on going.
All right, Security Guard Mike, you take care. By the way, coming up today, we have our own version of the PBR. We've got Security Guard Mike. We've got Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. We've got Chandler. And we're going to have some real-life PBR stars here with us. And whether you're new to the West, whether you're a native, whether you're from California, the PBR celebrates Western values, and this is our second year being here at Ed's 50s Cafe. So we get the PBR riders in, we talk about them, and do you call it courage? Do you call it craziness? Maybe you've watched the Netflix show Relentless on how these guys prepare, and that's mainly involving the Brazilian bull riders, but it is simply amazing. By the way, I had some personal issues last night, so I didn't get a chance to watch the lieutenant governor's race. Did you see that? And as Maggie O'Mara said on KIDO Talk Radio, it is historic, where you're going to have, for the first time in Gem State history, Idaho's first lieutenant governor that's a female. And then you have to take a look at the Democratic ticket that seems semi-unified, and are the Republicans. Remember, the Republicans are traveling the state in a bus. Now, I don't know how that works. I don't know who gets the front seat, who gets the back seat, whether or not they're really on the bus. But you've got Brad Little, Russ Fulcher, Janice McGeehan, all these folks that are on this bus touring the state. And maybe you have the Democrats doing the same thing. Anyway, regardless of that, election season very soon. So if you want to comment on that, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, other news of the day when you're talking nationally. And it's interesting, I was talking to security guard Mike and Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. And usually when we talk to Miller's Militia, we're focused in on local issues. You know, local issues like we're always talking about, emissions testing and whether or not the big trucks should, in fact, have the emissions test, which I don't understand, because if we're going to tax the cars, shouldn't you have to tax the trucks? Well, Kevin, if we tax the trucks, the price of goods goes up. Well, yes, of course, but still, if you're going to, what emits more carbon, bad carbon? Is it my 11-year-old Toyota Camry, or is it the big truck I was behind that was blowing black smog in my face the other night? So just questions about that when we're taking a look at local issues. But many people are talking about this Saudi journalist that many people believe he was killed. He went into the embassy in Saudi Arabia. I guess he was going to get married in Turkey, the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. He was going to get married, and then all of a sudden, boom, we believe that he's dead. And then I thought about Daniel Pearl and what ISIS did to him. And I remember the press showing that on TV. You remember Daniel Pearl, the journalist that was killed by ISIS, beheaded on the Internet live? And I didn't hear the cries from the liberal media to do much about it. And, we won't even say the libs. We'll just say the media. And yet we have this incident with this Saudi journalist who apparently was killed. Now, one can argue there's a difference between a government, Saudi Arabia, and a terrorist organization, ISIS. But are we really concerned about this story because we are interested in it, or it's because it's a swipe at the president? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's get the very latest from our own Simon Owen. Okay, maybe we won't get the very latest from Simon Owen. Guys, let's try it again. There's no sound coming from here, guys. Let's see if we can fix this. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We are broadcasting live from Ed's 50s Cafe in Meridian, Idaho, celebrating the PBR. And like I said, we're going to be talking to the PBR folks very soon, and we can't wait for that. No winner for the Powerball last night. Of course, everybody's talking about what are they going to do with these millions, these mega millions. As I said, if I won, I would simply buy the broadcast center and have everybody dress up as superheroes. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's take a break and see if we can get the sound fixed. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And thank you, Ray Amaya. Always appreciate you having our back from the broadcast center. We are located here at Ed's 50s Cafe, taking over Meridian, Idaho today. We would love to see you. We're going to have some riders from the professional bull riders coming in today. And I will say this, those of you that have seen me, and to the guy on Twitter that said, dude, get on the keto diet, well, thank you for that positive reinforcement, sir. One thing that I do know about is food, and the food here at Ed's 50s Cafe is incredible. Why not start the day the right way? We got a special, 2 blueberry pancakes, 2 eggs, 2 bacon, or my personal favorite, the steak and eggs right here at Ed's 50s Cafe. Celebrating the West, celebrating all that is great in Idaho. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Now, we were talking a little bit about the journalists and such. The journalist we believe that was killed by the Saudis in Turkey in the Saudi embassy. It gets confusing. A lot of people think that, Kevin Miller, this is a big deal. Is it? See, I think, again, the press has an agenda to gin this stuff up. Also coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about smoking marijuana. Canada has legalized smoking marijuana. What do you think about that in Idaho? We talked a little bit about it yesterday, and that was later in the show, so we'll recycle that topic today. Here is Mike Pompeo on Saudi Arabia and Turkey.
I'm convinced that the Saudis understand that America is taking this seriously, and I am hopeful that the Saudis take this as seriously as they indicated to me yesterday that they would.
Right. Now, many people are calling for regulations. Many people think that some bad things should happen to the Saudis. I don't know.
If a country engages in activity that is unlawful, it's unacceptable. There's no one is going to defend activity of that nature.
All right, that is Mike Pompeo. And thankfully, to the good work of Chandler here on KIDO Talk Radio, we have that report from Simon Owen. Let's take a listen to give you the background before we get to your phone calls.
Turkish police have searched the Saudi consulate in Istanbul for a second time, the site where Turkish officials alleged journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed, a claim denied by Saudi Arabia. In the latest alleged leak from the investigation, a Turkish newspaper identifying a man who entered the consulate shortly before the journalist disappeared as someone who previously travelled with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince to the United States. Meanwhile, the Washington Post publishing what it calls Khashoggi's last column, describing abuses against journalists by Middle Eastern governments. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
Well, there you have it. Is this that big of a deal? Obviously, a man was killed. Obviously, it was an issue of importance. Your thoughts, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. In other news, Canada has legalized recreational marijuana.
We recognize the unfair impact that the prohibition had on marginalized and racialized communities across this country. That's one of.
Now remember, this is Canada, not the United States of America, not to be confused with Oregon, not to be confused with other places. It's not Idaho. Now myself, Terry from State College, Pennsylvania, and Brad Little are all in agreement that we should not go any further in legalization here in Idaho. Well, we're going to miss all the revenue and such. I don't know about that. I do know that what's illegal should stay illegal.
The reasons why we're moving forward with a system that will control and regulate the sale of marijuana. That's also why we're moving forward on a pardon system that will be free and fast in order to make sure that the stigma of a criminal record does not follow these disproportionately marginalized people for the rest of their lives.
And security guard Mike, we appreciate you. You're heading out?
Oh, yes, I'm heading out. I'm all rejuvenated from Ed's 50s Cafe's great breakfast. Get on down here and see Kevin Miller live.
God bless, security guard Mike.
A lot better now.
You are. You're fired up. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you at Miller's Mission.
Yes, sir. Thank you, security guard Mike. Take care. I love him. All right, let's go to the phones. Liberty Linda joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. I'm jealous because I can't be there. You know, unfortunately, I had things happen to me like Cindy, so I'm staying with family now, so I can't be there this morning. So anyway, we love security guard Mike. I miss him. Terry's there. You guys are having so much fun. And you're absolutely right. Marijuana, you know, you can't even drive a car after you smoke marijuana. There's so many things that it prevents you from doing. You're not in your right mind after you smoke marijuana. It should not be legalized. I think it's interesting, Kevin, how most of your listeners, we always think the same way. You know, we all know that marijuana isn't good for you. Anyway, that's my belief, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, Liberty Linda, we appreciate that. And, we're just telling people just say no to pot.
I agree.
Right?
I absolutely agree. Let's say no to pot because I don't see anything good in it whatsoever, except for the oil. If that helps people, then I'm for that. Anyone that has health problems, something like that is different. But smoking marijuana, I can't see any benefit, anything that's good about that. So I'm
well, what do you
sticking
say
with
to the
you.
people that disagree with you? What do you say to them?
I
Liberty
say
Linda?
that they're in dangerous territory. That's what I say to them. And I feel sorry for them that they think that way. But I think that when you smoke marijuana, it's dangerous for your health. It's dangerous when you're driving. You're not in your right mind. And I just don't think it's a good thing. It's not good. They've taken people, after they died, they've gone through and looked at their brains, and marijuana actually does something to the brain. It is not good for the human body. And so I'm with you, Kevin, all the way on that, as I usually am. You have made good sense, and that's why we love you so much.
Thank you, Liberty Linda. I hope you feel better. I'll keep you in my prayers.
Thanks. Well, have fun there this morning, which I know it's a wonderful place to be at.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you, Liberty Linda.
Okay, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Traffic and weather together.
Gabbard.
And let's go back to the phones. Johnny in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad, and you?
Oh, not too bad. Just headed into work. I wanted to comment on this whole journalist issue. I don't see why it's not being talked about, the fact that he was affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. I think that's a pretty big deal. And that's a terrorist organization, and I believe that he dug himself in a hole that he, in the end, ended up taking his life.
Well, what does it matter to you that the Saudis ordered it? You make your enemies.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you absolutely. And he let it be known how he felt about the Saudi royalty and the Saudi royal family, and maybe he should have waited to put out a lot of the columns he did until after he went and got his divorce papers signed. It's the circumstances and the timeline and stuff that he created in his own life. He ended up paying the price for it, and it's what's sad is it's going to be politicized, and it's going to turn into a political issue, and they're going to call for Trump to do something about it, and we do a lot of business with and it's only going to, in the end, they're going to be able, if Trump follows the whole narrative where he needs to punish, the Saudis, in the end, they're going to sit back and point the finger at Trump and say, now look at the economy, everything's on you because of the issues that will come if we do.
Well, agreed, Johnny. Thank you for the call, brother. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
You're welcome.
Great call there. We continue on from Ed's 50s Cafe. Do appreciate everybody here at Ed's for having us, and for the folks here enjoying their breakfast, putting up with our yapping. So we always appreciate being a guest in Ed's house here in Meridian. If you want to stop by, we're here till 9, and we're going to have riders from the PBR, and you can meet Terry from State College, Pennsylvania, a very exciting, dynamic young man. Let's go to Daniel in Marsing with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Daniel.
Morning, Kevin. How are you?
It's always a great day to speak with you, Daniel, and to be here at Ed's.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put in my opinion on the medical marijuana. I mentioned before when I called in that I'm originally from Alaska, and they made it recreational up there when I was still a teenager. And, could only have so much. And it just, was for one thing, is the people that, just so many more people started smoking it. And then, up there, most of the jobs up there, you're still required to pass a drug test for any of the oil field work and that kind of stuff. So what we started seeing was a lot of, a higher rate of unemployment because all of a sudden these people are failing drug tests now.
People seem to forget that. And in reality, if you wanted to stop two of the biggest problems in America today, you would have E-Verify and you'd have a drug test. And you'd stop the drugs and you'd stop people working here illegally. But I don't think we want to do that.
I agree with that. It was surprising. People that I knew, that they'd pass the drug test, and all of a sudden it's legal and they're getting sent home.
Right, and then they're going to put pressure on employers, and then people's safety is endangered. Daniel, great points, and thank you for starting your day with us here on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yep, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, appreciate you. We are live in Meridian, Ed's 50s Cafe, till 9. We would love to see you. We're going to hear from the PBR riders as it's PBR week here in the Treasure Valley. We're pumped. We're blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And from Ed's 50s Cafe to London, England, Simon Owen joining us from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Simon, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
So we've got Mike Pompeo doing the world tour, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. What's next for the Secretary of State, and what does it mean, if anything, to this story concerning the missing or dead journalist?
Well, what's next sounds like the White House, because we're told that Mike Pompeo will meet with President Trump this morning. They will speak about what he learned in Riyadh and Ankara, and President Trump has suggested that there may be answers on this story and this situation and this case potentially by the end of the week. And Mike Pompeo spoke to reporters yesterday, and he talked about the Saudis needing, in his words, a handful more days to figure out what's gone on here. Mike Pompeo sounded fairly positive about an ongoing Saudi investigation into the disappearance of this journalist, but he did say that answers are needed, and he said sooner is better than later for everyone.
Right. You wonder, it's just not an answer of who did it, but if the Saudis did do it, what are the repercussions? Are there, we hear this from our press here, Simon. There's a lot of attention. What about the reaction to this in Europe? And as we've said before, Turkey, half Asia, half Europe. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, major Western European governments are kind of making noises along the lines of they want answers, but equally it doesn't matter quite so much what the French and the Germans and the Brits say. It's going to come down to what the Trump administration decides on this. I mean, certainly if you look at close relations, U.S.-Saudi relations are very close. There's a lot of oil involved. There's a lot of weapons sales from the U.S. to Saudi Arabia involved. But Britain actually has very close relations as well. And Britain sells a remarkable amount of arms to the Saudis if you compare it in size to the United States. So, there's a close relationship from London and Riyadh. But equally, the British government has been making comments this lunchtime. Over here it says that Britain remains very concerned about this disappearance. It says those bearing responsibility for the disappearance must be held to account. But ultimately it's probably going to come down to the Trump administration. They're the ones that can really tighten the screws on the Saudis if they want to, and if they feel that there is a connection here to particularly the Saudi Crown Prince. Now, if the Saudis turn around and say this was nothing to do with the royal family, it was something that went wrong, then there's going to be various questions. Firstly, why did you spend 2.5 weeks saying that nothing happened, if indeed something did happen? And secondly, there are all sorts of leaks, we think, coming from the Turkish security services to pro-government media in Turkey, identifying members of a 15-person so-called assassination team that flew into Turkey shortly before Jamal Khashoggi disappeared and flew out a few hours after he disappeared. And the latest leaks today identify one member of that team as somebody who travelled very closely with the Crown Prince, not least when he went to the United States earlier this year. So if the Saudis say that it had nothing to do with the Crown Prince, there are obvious questions to be asked about, well, what is this man doing there, and various other factors in this to explain away. And it's going to come down to the fact of whether the US really pushes the Saudis on that, or does it say that, this is a relationship that is necessary for us and we want to keep it alive.
Simon Owen on the scene, on the story. As always, old friend, we appreciate you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. From Simon Owen to former state senator, congressional candidate Russ Fulcher. Oh, I guess no Russ Fulcher. I guess Russ Fulcher was calling us from the fun bus. It's kind of like yesterday when security guard Mike, it was so funny. He goes, man, I really enjoyed your interview with Bill O'Reilly. I go, yeah, I enjoyed Glenn Beck's interview with Bill O'Reilly yesterday too. And, and he goes, yeah, it was really great. I go, no, that was Glenn Beck. Because I had gotten our dates wrong. Bill O'Reilly will join us next Wednesday coming up, and tomorrow we'll be at CWI. But today, a very special day. We're at Ed's 50s Cafe here in Meridian, Idaho, living the dream, celebrating the PBR, and we're talking about big political issues, most notably Canada deciding to legalize marijuana. And do you think that Idaho should follow suit? 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We introduced the Cannabis Act because we know that strict prohibition does not work. Under the previous approach, it was easier for a teenager to gain access to a joint than a bottle of beer, while, as we said, criminals reap huge profits.
So what do you think about Idaho joining the club, the Canadian club, if you will?
There is no question that the world is watching Canada.
The world is watching Canada. Are you watching Canada? Let's go to R&R. R&R, I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller.
Jester of the mountain people. Hey, that would have been too much fun to cross paths with Mr. Fulcher again. Eminent domain, Fulcher. I'm calling about marijuana. I'm thinking, Mr. Liberty Linda is actually the one that brought it to my attention. She's LDS. I'm fairly certain about everything I'm about to say. Saturday of October General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. 15 prophets, seers, and revelators. And I don't bemoan any of them. I think I speak of certainty. The LDS Church endorsed and announced to the entire world, 12 million strong, the use of medical marijuana is now approved worldwide, and in the event that the human LDS person has a long way to go to a dispensary, they can actually cultivate 3 plants in their own yard and use medical marijuana. Now, I know in Oregon you can get a nurse to prescribe. Okay, so I can only surmise that somewhere in the world you don't even have to go to a doctor. You can go to a voodoo, or you can go to Shama, or you can go, I can only imagine in Kathmandu. So I don't know, Kevin. I think you might want to deputize all 3 of your dachshunds if you become the marijuana police in Idaho. You're being encroached upon.
Nothing like a militant dachshund and an Australian Shepherd is a backup.
Oh, ounce per ounce ferocity. But there was a morning when you were going to be the word police with the S word. You're going to have to deputize a whole litter of dachshunds to keep the swear words off the radio and the marijuana out of the state. I think that we ought to go build that wall. Now the wall's figuratively, of course. We just got to go. Okay, and I want to endorse your station is incredible as programming, and it's the best place to buy dog food, without a doubt, is Zanzo's, and I've been in their garden center. They're so knowledgeable. I love Zanzo's. We aren't across the river in Oregon, so
I'm with you,
on this
R&R.
side. Peace.
I got to run, but thank you.
Peace. Bye-bye.
Peace. Bye. Okay, let's try it again. Our great friend Russ Fulcher, hopefully from the bus, the Russ bus, but it's the Republican bus. Russ, we wish you were with us here in Meridian. Good morning.
Oh, me too, actually. I caught your message earlier this morning when you were talking on the program about wondering if we were really on that bus, and we are really on the bus, man. It's we're getting fired up, and we're about to take the first of about 8 to 10 stops today.
Well, what happens in the bus?
Well, at 6:45, not a whole lot. There's a coffee pot. I think I'm about on my third cup here, but by the time we roll into Weiser, that's going to be the first stop this morning. Then people get livened up. But Lieutenant Governor Little's here, and Janice McGeehan's here, and Brandon Wolf, and we got some others. So it's for real. We had a great time yesterday. We hit 8 towns in the greater Ada Canyon area, and by the time we wind up today, we'll hit 10 towns, and we'll land in Moscow. So campaign, baby, we're having a good time.
Russ, as someone who has built coalitions throughout your time in your personal and professional life, what's it like to be with the state ticket and to have that sense of camaraderie? Obviously, campaigns are tough. We all know that. Going back to your days in the Senate, organizing the Senate Republicans, working with the executive branch and also the House while you were in the Senate, and I still can't get the Steve Jobs stories out of you, but I'm working on that. Your thoughts on, just kind of, I don't want to say nostalgia in the moment, if you will, sir.
This tour is on the surface, it appears to be a campaign tool, and it is, and we want to meet as many people as we can. But one of the good facets about it is it also gives a chance to get to know each other a little bit better, which is important if we're going to be in a leadership role, to know each other, to have an open communication line so we can strategize, and it is a lot of fun. And I reflect back on those years in the state Senate, and that's where some of this groundwork got laid. Same thing with some of the other folks that are on this bus. We've all got a little bit of a history in the state and in other roles where we were public servants, and this is a good time to get to know one another. It's a good time to get to know more of the people of the state of Idaho, and overall, it's how the campaign's going to wind up, and we're having a good time.
Russ, finally, you're there with the lieutenant governor, Janice McGeehan, the candidate for lieutenant governor, all the people on the ticket. Why is it important to support the Republican ticket that we take for granted so much here in Idaho? What's at stake this election cycle?
Well, regardless of what people say, the Trump agenda is on the ticket. In Idaho, I think we're going to hold things firm. And there's a lot of good common sense folks in Idaho, and they get the need to be able to operate in a free market type of environment. That is not necessarily the case in a lot of other states. And if that majority control is not maintained, then any of the reforms, any of the free market-based, citizen-based legislation that the White House, or for that matter, the State House, is trying to promote, gets greatly hindered. And that sets us, in my opinion, that sets us back a lot. And I'm not sure that people really realize the crossroads that we're at. I mean, we either take the role that's been, for the most part, led by the Republicans, and that's the free market type of an approach, or we shift towards the Democrats are promoting, and that's November 6th is going to tell us a lot, and we're right there.
Well, Russ, we appreciate you. It's been too long, and good luck on the trail, and we'd love to get you in sometime, sir.
Love to do it, and I can tell you, I told a number of folks I was going to try to contact you this morning. I can tell you that everyone here is just sends greetings, and we'll check back in and let you know how things are going.
Yes, sir. Take care, Russ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Russ Fulcher joining us from the, I guess, I don't know if we could call it the Republican Fun Bus, but this is an entertainment show. We are having fun here. We're at Ed's 50s Cafe. You know, we've got our great friend, Canyon County Sheriff Kieran Donahue is with us. We've got Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. We've got folks from the PBR. It's a fun morning. Why don't you come out and join us? We're having a great time here in Idaho, right in the Treasure Valley, right in Meridian, right on. The right way to start the morning. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to talk about the West and the PBR. Looking forward to that. PBR in town, PBR week here in the Treasure Valley. We're so excited to be a part of it. And right here at Ed's 50s Cafe in Meridian, Idaho. Stop by, have a good time. Coming up next hour, we're going to learn about all what it takes to be in the PBR. In fact, if you watch the Netflix series, if you're going to the Ford Idaho Center this weekend, you want to tune in because it's very humbling to talk to these riders. And, of course, our old friend Kieran Donahue, as you know, Sheriff of Canyon County. I was joking with Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. I see him outside of, and I'm not making this up, outside of Capitol Hill. I see him on documentaries, and I see him in rodeos. And then the sheriff goes, yeah, I don't see you at the jail yet, Miller. I go, oh, I'm thankful for that, sir. Traffic and weather together. And we're joined by Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. We always appreciate Terry, whether it's at Miller's Mission or at our events. You're always here. We appreciate you, brother.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and it really is an honor to be here. You know, when I look specifically at everything that Kevin Miller and KIDO represents, I'm honored to be in the crowd.
Well, today we're representing the Steak and Egg Special here at Ed's 50s Cafe.
Yeah, I've already destroyed it. I win.
Yeah, getting ready to hear from the PBR and Sheriff Donahue. Big event this weekend. And for those of us that, you know, have come here east of the Great River, it's amazing to see just how big an event the PBR is.
Actually, it is. You know, when you talk rodeo east of the Great River, you're talking a little 4-H thing here and there and local little things. And out here, it's a huge sport.
Yeah, different vibe here.
It is. You know, I mean, I grew up in the central Pennsylvania. I've got Pittsburgh. I got Philly. I've got New York. I'm surrounded by all this sports. And out here, Kevin, I can't figure it. So I still need this answer. Why would somebody climb up on the back of a 1,000-pound animal that wants to kill them and ride that creature? I don't get it.
We're going to find that out coming up next.
Very good.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
More coming up. Ed's 50s Cafe in Meridian. Join us this morning. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.